Hello, everyone. I am Vishakha, and you're watching the Unfiltered series, where we call in the principal of various esteemed schools and institutions and try to have a candid chat with them. And today, we are very proud and privileged to have with us Ma'am Rita Taneja, Principal, Delhi Public School, Jaipur. Welcome to the show, ma'am. We are elated to have you with us today.
A very, very pleasant good morning, Vishaka. Even I am happy to be here.
Ma'am, in this show, we basically talk about existing issues that are there in the field of education and try to come up with solutions if that can help in any way. And before I begin questioning you, I would first like to address the elephant in the room, which is the pandemic which is going on. Ma'am, the petrifying and the extreme impact of COVID-19 has taken the world to its core. The COVID-19 pandemic landed the education system in jeopardy. What do you think are the major consequences of this pandemic on Indian education system? And as a leading education institute, how are you dealing with it?
See, pandemic has caught the entire world unaware. None of us were prepared, none of us wanted it, and we woke up to a challenging, threatening time. But I think along with the challenges, ultimately we all grappled initially, but then we came to terms and that we knew that this is the way it is going to stay for some time. And I think the education world was one of the earliest field where the teachers equipped themselves, they were trained. No doubt overnight they took up to technology, they showed the flexibility, the knowledge of the teachers, the passion of the teachers showed through. And I think in India, around 20th of March, we had a lockdown where we came to know pandemic is here. And
Yes.
I think the first week of April, all the teachers, all the schools very, very nicely took it up and we started our classes online with Microsoft, Google, Zoom. Of course, initial glitches were there because we were just totally caught unaware. And we were, everybody thought, okay, if after a few days, everything is going to go back to normal. And
Right.
then slowly we realized this is the new normal. And
True.
technology was there to help us. And the buildings remains closed, of course, till now. But education did never stop. And the teachers, the schools took help of technology, trained, equipped. And of course, we had a lot of free access to Microsoft, Google, and other platforms also opened up their vistas for the schools and
Yes.
education continued. And I think the teachers have really shown their resilience and the passion that they kept on connecting with the children. I think the teachers and education, the engagement that they provided to children, not only kept the children engaged, but also the families quite connected, sane. And as they were engaged, they were, I think the level of stress also somewhere came down when the teachers were able to engage the children in not only academic activities, post scholastic, even IT, robotics, yoga, dance, music, inter-school competitions. Nothing stopped.
True.
And the zeal of teachers, it is just you have to see it to believe it. And
Absolutely.
we took help from all the kind of social media because we did not have so much of preparation that we had original videos. And now, by after a few months, teachers are doing a marvelous job. They've created a plethora of resources. And CBSE, in fact, has opened up portals like Diksha, Nishtha. They are training the teachers, they are giving orientation, and the original work of the teachers is being uploaded for one and all. You
Yes.
can log to Diksha, CBSE, Shiksha Vani, Divya, Shiksha Dan. So many things opened up. Technology just took us by a storm,
Yeah.
and thankfully we adapted, we learned. Otherwise, I do not know what would have happened. And today, our children are so well connected with the teachers, schools, and the curriculum is moving on quite well.
And that's exactly what my next question was, that although this pandemic has worked as a boon for the campaigns like Digital India, but don't you think again the teachers, they were unprepared to take on this challenge and were not trained to conduct the online classes in full swing? Now of course we see the experts sitting behind the screen and doing wonderful things every single day. But earlier in the month of April, I remember all the teachers having sleepless nights and having anxiety attacks at how the class is going to happen the next day.
See, children are the digital natives. I always say, they've grown into technology. We were the aliens. We had never used technology. So we
Yes.
had to learn. But I think we should be very thankful that teachers, even Hindi, Sanskrit, craft, art, they all learned. And of course, the user-friendly platforms are there. A lot of tools are given in every platform, and we were able to create engaging lessons. Yes, we were caught unaware, but luckily CBSE schools had been preparing. CBSE had gone online for past 2 3 years. The
Yes.
every official work was being done online. And if you talk about unpreparedness, the whole world is was unprepared. So education was not something special. We should have been prepared. And yes, the rest of the world had been online for past 10 15 years. That is why it went on seamlessly. Even
Yes.
in rest of the European countries, America, Middle East, they also had issues. Even they were not so equipped as to conduct the classes smoothly and seamlessly. Yes, India was a little lagging behind because of a lot of issues, the expensive devices, connectivity, some teachers not having an interface with technology at all, completely being naive to technology. Yes, there were issues, but in most of the CBSE schools, we had smart boards, and we had started, getting equipped slowly. No doubt, not to this level, of course, but smart boards were in use, projectors, 3D labs, robotic labs, they were in place. So I think all that, scattered things that we were doing, they helped us to, be coherent, make use of all this, scratches and bits and pieces of technologies that we were using. We were able to put it together and make the best. And of course,
Absolutely.
today, I'm sure you can see the YouTube links. You open any school and you will see marvelous work being shared online.
Right, ma'am.
Our school is in fact one of the leading schools who has brought out graphic novels. They have brought out a lot of podcasts, so CBSE series. So yes, teachers have come up. They have taken the challenge. Initially, children were making fun, parents were judging, there were things getting mispronounced. I think all those things, they just helped us to learn. Yes, we are in the eye of the public domain now. So all the teachers, in fact, I think it has been a boon. Teachers have become more accountable, more responsible, more prepared. Now they know that supposing if I am delivering a lecture, the entire family is going to listen to it, and we can be recorded, we can be shared, our things can go viral. So teachers have really become professionals. The jargon that they're using proper professional words, the terminology of the teachers has changed. So yes, though pandemic has been really bad for entire world health, so many mortalities, casualties, very painful things are happening, but it has been a boon for the sector of education, where teachers have really equipped themselves, and we have come somewhere at par with the world. Now we can also we can boast of good lectures. Initially, when I as a resource person used to go for training to different schools of India, whatever videos I showed were all foreign.
Right.
Now, when we're doing webinars, we have our own indigenous videos of our classes. Actual data is being recorded. So we were so dependent upon the foreign videos for everything. If we thought of problem solving, we would just Google it and get videos done from some foreign country. Today, we have some things of our own. So it is going to create, we are curating the knowledge, we are documenting the work of the teachers, and ultimately, I think the teachers will be appreciated a lot for doing something on their own. Now we are using kitchen as a laboratory. We are showing them, how boiling is showing condensation, evaporation. We are asking the children to go to the garden. So, we talk so much about hand holding, experiential learning. All that has come to be accepted by teachers. Now they are at home. Just the other day, my primary children were doing a lecture on table manners. Initially, in the classes, we could not get all the utensils, the silverware, the crockery. And now, as they are at home, the mothers help them to set up a proper table. And the primary children were taught table manners. So,
Wonderful.
this is something, these kind of small things never happened before, which have now suddenly become possible. And every day when we review the HODs and the academic coordinators, they sit with the class teachers, subject teachers, they review what they're doing. New ideas are coming up. So I think it has been very good. So let us be, let us be positive. Let us see as it an opportunity and challenges. Mother is the necessity of invention. As things have come our way, we are trying to make the best of it. I hope our children are learning and they are growing after this pandemic ends one fine day after whatever time. I hope the children will be engaged. They would not feel that their time has been wasted, and they will be ready to face the future with the life skills that teachers are trying to give. I think the teachers have done a wonderful job. I see them working hard every day. I am all full of respect for the teachers.
Definitely, ma'am. We have seen that teachers has turned the table around and work things in their favor. But we also need to acknowledge the fact that this new normal is not only a different concept for the learners and teachers, but also for the parents. While teachers have geared up as content creators, parents are stepping in as facilitators and learning coaches. How important do you think is the role of a parent in this entire e-learning process?
It is extremely important. Now the stakeholders are more important than ever before. Earlier in the Indian schools, parents were just the onlookers and they had barely any contribution. Today, they are looking at the children's education with much more. I think it's under a microscope now, and they are able to judge us. They are, but along with judging, they are helping us. They are now equal partners. They are giving the feedback to us. They are facilitating learning at home. They are making sure that the children, they wake up on time, they are ready for the class, they are doing the homework or the assignments that teachers are giving them. They are taking the ownership of the learning also, at least in the little ones. And the senior children, they are being guided for more self-study because CBSE and the other boards have made it clear that board examinations will happen. When and how we are yet to know, but syllabus has been, of course, reduced so that proper learning can happen at their own pace. But parents have, they have handled, they are handholding the children and the teachers to connect. And I think the authenticity of learning and integrity of assessments is happening because the parents are with us. Parents have shared the responsibility. Yes, now when the work has started, parents are going to their workplace. It is difficult sometimes. Maybe some families have limited devices. There it becomes a problem. But parents have actually gone and brought extra devices for children, and they are now prioritizing the child's education for a change. They are fixing up their time, they attend the PTMs online, they ask for different things from us. So yes, parents are sharing the responsibility, and every situation has pros and cons. In majority of the cases, parents are supporting us. In some cases there has been issues where the parents are the health workers or the police people, media people, teachers like us, who cannot help the children much. Yes, there we are uploading a lot of WhatsApp videos also. If there is a problem like this, schools like ours are doing remedial classes. We are doing doubt clearing classes at all odd hours. Our school also has a Siksha Kendra, which is a school which we run around 2,000 children. They study free of cost, right from many, many years. So there we are posting videos, uploading the WhatsApp things, and the children are learning. Some teachers are even conducting classes on Sundays and Saturday evenings so that the parents are available. So yes, it has been a mixed bag, and but yes, being at DPS a privileged school, definitely I have parents who are sharing the onus of learning of their children.
Ma'am, having said this, many 21st century parents are also stressed out as they watch their kids express a clear preference for sitting on a couch in front of a screen over playing outside. The national panic about kids spending too much time indoors has become so extreme that the crisis also has a name: nature deficit disorder. While calling it a disorder might be merely rhetorical, it's clear that kids spend significantly more time inside than outside. Do you think this in any way is affecting their mental health and growth? And as a school, how are you dealing with it?
Definitely, as teachers, I feel that we are doing a good job in preparing good lectures and good content. But yes, the learner, the children, may it be the very youngsters, teenagers, they are on the losing side because they do not have opportunities to, first of all, go outside, outdoors, intermingle with the peer group. It is very important for a growing child to be with the children of his or her own age. The For parents, the priority is only learning, but the social contact, the personal and the physical contact is missing. Yes, it will lead to some disorders. Irritability is increasing as we adults prioritize so much of learning and being engaged. We forget that children have their own world, their own emotions, which, for example, they are not able to talk to their friends. They are not able to share their likes, dislikes. So yes, it is going to have an effect, and it is a disorder. It is a national problem. We are trying to have webinars from clinical psychologists. We are having a lot of doctors talk to our children. But just hearing positive things, being motivated without the actual contact, definitely it is going to have long lasting effect. And I think when we come back to our physical school, we will have to make sure that children do get enough space to come back to the normal, and they are able to interact with their age group. It is a problem. There are a lot of hospitals in the city who are offering free webinars these days so that they can talk about the anxiety. Another concern is handwriting. As everything has gone online, the children are totally lost because they are even doing the assessment on Google Forms or exam.net. But boards will happen offline. I think boards will often happen offline, and the loss of writing for longer time is another issue which, as an educator, I am concerned about. And yes, the physical exercise has been limited to yoga, walks on the terraces, or doing something around the home, but they do need to be outdoors. And yes, it is a very serious concern, which we are trying to deal with by providing them small activities. Sometime having, okay, make a video of your dance, make a video of your rapping, singing. But yes, they do need space, and which is a very sad state because, for example, when a child comes and says, "Okay, mom, my friend doesn't talk to me. He's not answering my Zoom call." We will think, okay, doesn't matter. So what? He'll talk to you tomorrow. But imagine that child, what he's feeling. And unfortunately, in the rat race that we are running, pillar to post, completing our household chores, are doing our professional work, we forget that children have their own charming world, and that is missing. That is missing. We try to cover it up, we try to help them, but we can be there just like their friends, but not their friends. So that gap will have to be looked at.
Absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. I completely agree with you on that. Uh, Also, other than metropolitan cities, ma'am, this pandemic is not a new concept for rural areas and for rural districts as well. And we also need to address the fact that tens of thousands of students attend school in rural districts. How can they do e-learning if they don't have internet access at home and hotspots or Wi-Fi are not available? How can we deal with that issue?
I think MHRD has provided Doordarshan with a lot of channels. MHRD has, I think, a subject channel for every subject. And even the local Doordarshan channels now are doing a lot of work on the e-learning. The state governments also have brought new packages which are on Doordarshan and on the Akashvani. Children can log on to them. And I feel these days the rural children are also aware with Anganwadis and the government schools in place. Government has done quite a lot of work. And now with the availability of devices becoming cheaper every day, no, definitely children are not having, rural India is not as equipped as the metros, I would agree. But alongside it, I think awareness for the MHRD channels and Doordarshan channel needs to be made, which is providing good content. The teachers in the rural areas will have a tougher job because definitely when children are at home, they will be seen as extra working hands. So the awareness needs to be created amongst the rural families. But I think I remember I had gone to a small place like Parbatsar in Nagaur in Rajasthan, and you will be surprised in such a tiny place. Every household had a person going to IIT, IIM, IS, so awareness is there. And yes, problems are also there, poverty, lack of awareness among parents, lack of willingness for the parents. The challenges are there, but if a child is willing, there are ample opportunities provided by government free of cost, which schools and children have to take an initiative and log on to them for learning. Of course, it is not so easy for rural India as the metros, but a child who is willing, there are opportunities for learning to happen.
Ma'am, now government has also bought out NEP, and I wish to know what are your thoughts on the same. Because as a person who has worked actively and has belonged to teaching fraternity for more than 40 years, do you see this as a welcoming change, or is it another hindrance in the path?
I have spent 30 years in education. And yes, on my own education also has been from CBSE. No, the new education policy is a welcome change. It talks a lot, it talks very positively about the changes that are needed now in the present scenario in our country. For the first time, it has brought under its umbrella the pre primary education,
Yes.
which was totally neglected in the earlier policies. In fact, the formal education began from class 1, and the state board took care of it from class 9 onwards from NCRT. So, but no, now I think right from the child goes to an informal education of pre-primary till class 12, it is under the umbrella of the education policy. It has spoken, it has empowered the teachers a lot, and for the first time, entire India knows about the new education policy. There, right now, they have taken out the draft, though we do not know the nitty-gritties of how it is going to be implemented. But from the draft itself, it is a very positive, I think it's a very positive education policy, which has empowered the teachers a lot. It has spoken about experiential learning. It has brought the importance of the native languages. The vernacular has been emphasized upon for learning and understanding, which used to be a big hurdle in the initial primary classes in some states and some cities. So now there is an option for the child to opt for the mother tongue as the medium of instruction. Even I think the children are going to be prepared for vocation also, and they have prepared. They have given, as far as I remember, they have also provided a bridge between the class 12th and the college for the higher education. A lot of reforms have been suggested, and I think if we take it up positively, we have done. We have. I have attended a lot of webinars. I have conducted few to deconstruct and debrief the teachers about the new education policy. I think it's a welcome change. It will bring positive change. The awareness that the government has brought this time for the new education policy itself shows that it will bring a mindset change. Initially, when it came 2 decades back, nobody had heard of it. Teachers had not even read the new the national framework, the curriculum framework of 2005. This year, this with this policy, the widespread awareness that the government has given will bring a positive change. Everybody has read it. Everybody is trying to understand it. So I think that will help us to integrate it in our classes. And actual transaction of the classroom curriculum will also change with the understanding of the draft.
Talking about welcoming changes, ma'am, a lot of debate is going on related to the hike in school fees and how much are parents supposed to pay for the academic session 2020-21. While parents are requesting fee waiver, the private schools have come together and are demanding the government to bring out a rule in their favor. What is your take on the same?
See, it's very unfortunate that education has become a commodity of, so much of dissatisfaction among the parents. And as for my school, we have parents who have trusted us. They have. It's very sad, the situation. The kind of a it has become a bone of contention. The fees, the whole education is being weighed against the fees that we charge. First thing, I don't think the government should have been so against the schools. It should have helped out by bringing out a clear policy. Going to court, very unfortunate. Having these morchas and buns and closures, very unfortunate. That it is the children who are going to suffer. The teachers, yes, the fees is very important because fees is the only revenue by which the school runs and gives salaries to its staff. And I think there are lakhs of people who are dependent upon school as an industry also. As an administrator, I see uh, we have around 55 buses, the drivers, the conductors, the RTO, the cleaners, there are maintenance of the ACE plants, the maintenance of the equipment, the IT, the guards. It's a universe of its own. It's a whole industry. The uniform providers, the book suppliers, the stationery suppliers. The list is endless. We depend upon the entire society. And with the closure of one industry, see how many people have suffered. The employment of so many people is at stake today. The schools which did not have buffers, they are not paying salaries to the teachers. But teachers have taken the onus and they have kept on with the classes. The children have not had a loss of the school till now. The education continued. So I think it's a win-win situation the way it was. Definitely, it's a service industry. We need to pay to our teachers, to the other staff members, and have the services. For example, our buses have to go to the RTO for fitness, for insurance. Everything has come to a halt suddenly. So, though with all the good intention and passion of an educator, I would never think of shutting down the classes for my children because that is the only connect they have with the outside world now. At
Absolutely.
least, so yes, the parents and the schools must come to a consensus. Keeping the pandemic and the other employment also has been shut down, and everybody has suffered. Everybody has gone through a bad phase. The buffers of the finance that people have are now drying up. So everybody has had to go through a tough time. Parents and schools must come to a consensus, and they must, work out a solution which is good for both parents as well as schools. And yes, difficult times are here, so we need to cut down on a lot of frills and fancies, and be able to meet the bare expenses of the schools and the parents. Keeping it should be a very balanced solution that should come out. I am not an authority on any of this what I'm saying, but as an educator, as a parent, I would feel a balanced situation should be sought out somehow with the help of the government or the associations. I don't know which is the right authority to go to, but definitely people like me are also very confused because we are educators. We don't want children to suffer. We want things to go on. I'm sure pandemic will end one day. I'm very positive about it. I want my children to have not only academics but life skills to be taught to them, so they are ready because they have to move on. They have to keep on. After the pandemic, again the age constraints will be there. To how to apply, they have to go to foreign universities. They have to apply for higher education. Nothing will stop ever. Life will go on. Even in these hard times, we have seen nothing stop. Things are coming back to normal. So I hope that everybody sees, helps everybody and tries to make the ends meet for all. I don't want the teachers and staff also to suffer, but yes, putting an undue pressure upon the parents is also somewhere wrong. But a balance has to be struck somewhere. And I think it is the school and the parents should sit together and work out a situation which is a win-win situation for both the parties. And which, yes, the commotion is little unsettling. Whatever is happening is not very pleasant to me as a teacher.
Thank you for sharing the unfiltered thoughts on the same, ma'am. I believe most of the principals would have refrained from saying anything on the same, but the way you came up with the unfiltered solution and told us your thoughts and insights is fantastic. So, before ending the video, ma'am, just one last question from you is, what steps do you think should the government, teachers, and parents should take together to increase the value of education and make it a system which not only values marks and numbers, but also understands the importance of learning and being knowledgeable?
I think I come from a CBSE board, so I can talk about that. In the past couple of years, CCE, the Continuous Comprehensive Evaluation, was put into place, though it did not do well on the national level. But I think yes, CBSE does think of putting the value of knowledge before the marks. And I think as a parent educator, I would also want children to be knowledgeable rather than running behind marks. But yes, being a country with such a large population, somewhere the cutoff marks have to be created, because then what would be the way how to get admission into the Ivy League colleges, the prestigious IITs and medical, because the number of applicants in our country is in lakhs. So
Yes.
there is hardly any other, we cannot sit down, we can't expect even the senior people to sit down one to one and, screen the people for aptitude, interest, and attitude. When you have applicants in lakhs, 17 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs applying for the, maybe 20,000 seats in IIT and 50,000 in medical, and you have applicants in, 17 lakhs. So definitely some kind of examination system has to be there. Examinations will always have pros and cons. We are not able to judge the right caliber of everybody through examination. We know it. All the researchers and studies prove it too. But yes, we can have our education system planned in such a way that we give comprehensive knowledge to our children by the way we teach our children. I'm sure that now we all know that if we teach our children the way we were taught, we rob them of tomorrow. So we have to teach the children in the changed scenario, the way they learn. We have to incorporate more teaching strategies. We have to change our pedagogies so that we are able to cater to our children of the present. Because we all know that after 10 years, 20 years, when the children go out to the job market, hundreds of jobs that we know of will not even exist. Everything is becoming obsolete now, day by day. So we have to make our children be ready to learn. They should be independent learners. I think if we are able to create independent learners, those who know what to learn, why to learn, the aim of education is, I think, achieved somehow if the child is learning for the sake of learning and preparing himself to be a better learner in future, and if the children see their studies as helping them in future, helping them to be prepared for professions that they're going to enter in or they aspire to go to, or the children should be able to see that whatever my teacher is teaching me out of a book has some real sense in the real life. They are able to apply the knowledge from the textbook to a real life. If we as teachers can build that bridge and make them, understand that every textbook, every activity that we do in the school, it has a mindful, it has a mindful consequence, that whatever you learn is going to equip you for your future. I think we've achieved. The children will understand slowly that it is not marks which are important, it is knowledge. But unfortunately, in the higher education, to get into a center of higher education, be it IIT, medical, or any other, yes, we need to prepare them to strategize their learning, and they should be able to crack the examination so they are able to fulfill their future aspirations. CLAT, CA, CS, the results, the success rate is so poor. It is because, yes, somewhere in the past, maybe we were not able to do all this. Now, I don't know how far even I am successful in doing all this, but at least teachers now have become aware that they must prepare the children to be future ready, and knowledge is more important than marks. We need to equip our children for a very uncertain future. This pandemic has, clearly told all of us that whatever we know is of no use if we are not able to build a new knowledge based on our past experience. So transfer of learning, transaction of curriculum will undergo a huge change after this pandemic. Nothing is going to remain the same that we knew of as children, as teenagers, as teachers. Everything has changed. And I think teachers will come up to it. They will come up to it. And now even the parents have realized. Now when you have celebrities like in different fields, acting, dance, and so many other celebrities in so many different kinds of avenues, they are not only getting name, fame, but even money. Stability is coming in the other occupations. Now parents are promoting the children to even think. And now it is not, nobody becomes socially boycotted or ostracized. Okay, you are thinking of some very, you want to become a chef, don't do it. You want to become a dancer, don't do it. You want to become a script writer, don't do it. Now, in fact, if the children have talent, schools are providing better platforms for children to come out with their talent. We are trying to nurture the children. Earlier, we used to not give time to our children even to practice a play. Today, we have theater in education. So things are changing rapidly, and it is for all of us, and it is a society, it is all the stakeholders, the parents, the school, the society at large now has to be very clear that yes, things have changed. Let our children come out. Now, nothing is looked down upon. Whatever the children want to do, hotel management, anything, you name it, and the parents are there to nurture the child. They are now trying to even invest in the future of the children. Journalism has come up in huge way. Google, the blog writing, the content writing, the Instagram magazines, the Insta pages. The children are earning a fortune, out of all this. And now every day the ages are getting younger and younger. Now every day you hear of a child coming up with the innovative idea. The water girl of Bangalore, they're doing so much. The crowdfunding, startups, innovations, and now these things are not, shunned away. They are being encouraged. They are being talked about. A lot of topics which were tabooed totally, now the boundaries have all, education is without boundaries now. And I think with so much of happening on the scenario, I'm sure children will benefit and they will get more opportunities. And now I think the medical and the engineering are going to go down, and a lot of other things are going to come up. A lot of research is going to come up. In fact, I feel the pandemic has helped us. Our children were not ready to study biology and medicine. It had taken a backseat because of the long tenure. The gestation period was too long before they started earning. Now, with the pandemic, children have once again, realized the research for the need for research, going into medicine, going into paramedicine, community medicine. All these fields have opened up. So, yes, pandemic has been a boon to many. I hope it ends soon and we are able to get the fruits of all the learning. And we all should remember whatever we have realized in the time of the pandemic. I hope we remember it always and we build our future on the knowledge that has come to us during these challenging, unprecedented times.
On that note, I would like to end today's interview and extend my heartfelt thank you to Ma'am Rita Taneja. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us the honor to be benefited by your immense knowledge, for sharing your valuable insights, and for sparing time on a Sunday. So thank you so very much, ma'am. I thoroughly
and these are totally my views. I don't mean to offend anybody or to be politically quoted anywhere. These are just heartfelt thoughts of a teacher, which I shared with you. And I hope it helps my children. And I hope I, as a teacher, am able to come up to the expectations of my students. Thank you so much, Vishakha. Lovely talking to you on a Sunday morning also, because these are very serious concerns that you have brought up. Thank you so much, Vishakha. Lovely being with you.
Thank you. Likewise, ma'am. Thank you so much once again, ma'am. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, share, and subscribe, and keep on watching our YouTube channel Unfiltered to watch more such videos.